If you're like me, you might or may be highly resisting AI, but I'm going to tell you why it's blowing my mind and the one thing that is going to make AI effective for you when you implement it into your business. Welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast. It's Amanda. I am so pumped you're here because we are talking about, I would say, a controversial topic, a passionate topic, and also a topic that I think if you just deny, you are going to be missing out. You are going to be left behind. And that is AI. And I'm going to be sharing why my LLM of choice, which I'll talk about what that even means in just a second, is easily saving me 2 to 4 hours a week in my business, and why I don't think that you can afford to stay behind. So I am excited to open this conversation with you. But I have a confession to make. I'm freaking resistant to AI. I was like, this whole AI thing, like it creeps me out a little bit. It's going to take over. Recently, Miller and I went and saw the new Mission Impossible, and I was like, see, like if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but like, see, this is what's happening. And in my brain, I was really kind of like rolling my eyes about it. I feel frustrated because I feel like I hop onto social media and I can tell when people have used AI and when they haven't. And I felt like AI was going to like strip away my authentic voice and who I am and all of these things. So I was kind of like ego-y, like, well, I'm going to be the business that doesn't use AI and I'm going to do it authentically. And I don't think that's incorrect. I haven't like the pendulum hasn't swung so far the other direction by any means. But today I'm going to tell you why I have shifted a little bit and how I shifted and how I think you as well could and should be using AI in a really heartfelt, authentic, sincere way that is going to help you work smarter and not harder. And so here's kind of where the turning point happened for me. I am a part of kind of 2 masterminds this year. And one of those masterminds, every month there's a panel that speaks, and they had a panel specifically on AI. And 4 different people from 4 very different business models shared how they were utilizing AI in their business. And up until this point, to be honest, when I thought AI, I just thought like content creation and specifically social media content creation, because I think that's the only place that I really saw it being leveraged in my business. And so I sit through this panel, and I'm not joking with you. I'm like drop jawed. One of the panelists shows how he lives in New York City, how he like completely renovated his house using an AI tool. And, others shared, other bits. But one in particular that blew my mind was what enticed me to see that I could leverage AI to almost come in as specialists in my business. And she shared a few things that I just didn't even know AI was capable of. And so was the turning point of curiosity for me. They weren't really talking about AI replacing us. For me, it was like AI as a collaborative partner to what we're already doing. And I walked out of that room thinking like, am I doing this wrong? What if I'm actually holding myself back? And then I felt like I'm here leading you guys. If I'm not at the forefront learning and putting my hands in, then and just being a stick in the mud and resisting, then I'm also not serving you, and I'm also not serving my existing student populations. And so I'm recording this actually after doing a couple months of deep work around AI. And I still have so much to learn, by the way. I created inside the Best Damn Coach, we have several what I call implementation events a year. These are deep dive times where we come together as a community on a specific topic. And we just hosted our AI event, and the girls were like mind blown on what I shared inside of that 3-hour intensive together. And so I'm going to give you a snippet of that. And as part of the Best Damn Coach, you have complete access to these intensives, even the past intensives, to learn more and implement on your own. I want to kick this off, though, by sharing some of the mistakes that I see that are being made. And actually, I've made these mistakes too. But I want to call kind of these 3 big mistakes out, because I think that if you're falling victim to some of these mistakes, then what I have to share today is going to be really, really relevant. So Mistake number one is that your AI use is kind of like a fire drill. It's like, oh my gosh, there's something I need right away. It's like when you feel super stuck or you're panicked and you go out and you use AI. So it's a very much a reactive tool instead of a proactive tool. And that often means generic stuff that you're putting in, and to be frank, generic stuff that's coming out. And when I talk with a lot of our students and people in general, this is how they're using AI, and they just don't know what they don't know. But I'm going to change that. So stick around. Mistake number two is that your AI tool becomes a complete replacement. It's like it's a trap. You're trying to use AI to completely replace your voice instead of enhance it, because you think things like, I don't write well, I don't sound that good, I'm going to use AI, it's going to make me sound better. And the problem with that is that you're giving up your power and your authenticity. But here's the thing, you're giving up your uniqueness, and your uniqueness is what attracts your right client to you. So if you now let AI replace that, then again, you're vanilla. And I don't want you to be vanilla. The other mistake that I see is you're using AI as kind of this one size fits all approach. You haven't like customized specific things. And which I'm going to get into fully here in just a moment, is you haven't trained it. You haven't taught it about you and what you need it for. And so therefore it's a very generic one size fits all. And I think that as you're listening, you're going to be like, yep, check the box. I do those things. And this episode is going to help you begin to shift that perspective fully. All right. So here is the game changer that really shifted everything for me. So after I left this panel, I kind of felt like many of you do, like, where do I start? And I'd heard a lot. All the rumblings have really been about ChatGPT. And when I was listening to this panel, though, I heard them reference so many other LLMs. So for purpose of understanding, because I didn't know this, LLM stands for large language model. And this is just kind of the big umbrella word for the multiple AI tools that exist. And what this does is it basically, imagine it's like this giant center where all of this input and information is stored. And when you go to use it and you ask it specific questions, it's pulling that information from that storage place. So ChatGPT isn't the only place. It just happens to be the one that I think is the most popular and most common. And I find that my clients are most comfortable with, because that's what they have just kind of seen and heard people talk about. But as normal Amanda style, I was like, well, if everybody's using it, I don't want to use that. I want to test other things too. And so what I decided to do was that I was going to kind of conduct my own experiment. And for a couple weeks, I decided I was going to test 3 different LLMs: ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. Why these 3? Here's why. ChatGPT, like I already said, it was the most common. Most of my clients were using it. I chose Gemini because it's Google's AI, and in our company, we use Google Drive for everything. And so I did see and understand that the availability to upload from and download right into the drive was really compatible, and that was very enticing for me. And the last one I chose was Claude. And the reason I chose Claude was because I'd heard from another mentor that he had really aligned with Claude. It was able to give, I trust his opinion, and he was saying that it just nailed his voice. I'd also read that in other AI kind of platforms or in other groups I'm in. And so I was curious of it. So here's the shift that I want you to make. It's this delayed gratification. And so for 2 weeks, all I did was create a relationship with each of these tools. So I would do this on walks or when I had the kids at practice, because I usually walk or run when I'm at practice with the kids. And I would just ask it to ask me questions and turn output. So I would just say, hey, Claude, ask me 3 questions to get to know myself and to know me better. And it would ask me questions, and then I would be able to see its output and read its output. And I would go back for multiple weeks to each one, and I would just get outputs. I'd give them some inputs and then ask for some very minimal outputs. And honestly, what I was searching for is, which one of these feels most like me? And over the course of the 2 weeks, it became very clear for me which one felt most like me. It was like this blend of truth, Amanda style, but also this softness, this personality, this humanness that I feel like just didn't come across in the other two. And so I chose in the end to then, there was one clear winner, which was Claude. It became the obvious choice because it just was Amanda for me. And so for me, then I was off to the races. Then I realized that I wasn't just choosing something because somebody told me to. I felt like I'd done a little bit of due diligence to figure out which one was going to really work the best for me. And I'm so glad that I did that. And I feel really confident and I'm not curious. I will say I still pay. Usually with each, at least these ones that I've tested, there is a free version, which you can do tons of cool stuff around. And then there is a paid for version. In a moment, I'm going to tell you about how I leveraged Claude to radically give me time back. But I did this, I only began to pay for it once I was clear on which one was going to work best for me. I do also pay for ChatGPT's upgraded version. Both of these are about $20 a month because so many of my clients use chat. So if I'm modeling something or I'm coaching them and they have questions, I wanted to be able to show them the full feature. I don't know if I'll keep chat's paid for version. It doesn't really make sense for me, but I do have it currently. So here's the biggest thing that I want you to know about creating an AI collaboration with a tool that's going to work for you. And that is that if you want a great output, then you have to give it great input. So your output is only as good as what you give it. And there's a couple ways that you can increase this. But if it's constantly, you're just using it reactively, it is not going to give you what you need or want. And it's going to sound vanilla and it's going to sound generic. And so before you go out and just asking it to do stuff, I want you to think of it like a relationship. Like I want you to first give before you take. And what you're going to give to it is your content. So you are going to give it all of this learning about you. And that could be transcripts from podcast episodes. It could be content from your social media. It could be a transcript from you live coaching a client or a group coaching call. It could be part of your framework that you've built or all of your framework. It needs to hear you and understand you. And you also need to tell it all the things that you possibly can about yourself. From things that you think are not important in your actual life to things that obviously are really important in business. And you also need to help it understand your business model, who your ideal client is, and like kind of the vision you have for your business as well. It needs to be on the same page as you. And so I think one of the reasons many of you might feel frustrated if you use it is because you haven't given it great input. And so then it does not feel like you, or you then end up having to do lots of edits. And so once I realized that, it becomes now a almost daily conversation to continue to build that. Now, ethically, or like if you're comfortable around things, every LLM I've tried does allow you to disable to some degree your, let's call it AI footprint. So if you don't want all of that information up in the LLM, like available, so this was one of my concerns, is like, all this stuff is proprietary. Like, this is my mind. This is my voice. This is my content. Like, I've spent developing for 25 years. I don't want somebody else to just tap into it. And you can actually disable the feature where you contribute all of that information. And if that's, who you are and if you care that much, then, that's on you. Totally. I do. So that is an opportunity as well. And so for me, what I found very valuable was I downloaded the Claude app to my phone. And that's where I do most of my content building with Claude, because with Claude, for whatever reason, they don't have a microphone available on the desktop. So I can't sit at my desk and talk. I can type all the input into it. But for me, what I love is I can be out for a walk or at practice, or like this week, Miller had a football camp. And I did 2 hours of work on my phone utilizing AI, and it would have probably taken me like 6 hours. And all of it was through talking. And I'm way better talking. I can just ramble and create all this stuff. And then it knows me well enough that it can put it in. So for instance, building out this particular podcast show notes, but also outlines, sorry. Like I went through and batched out 2 months worth of outlines. I had to come up with the ideas I wanted to talk about. I talk into it for 4 or so minutes. It's my stuff, but what it does is organize it, highlights it, pulls together kind of like a transcript, or rather a show note that's easy for my team. It organizes so when I talk, I don't forget. And I've taught it how I want it to do that. So it's like freaking so cool. So one of the features, once you upgrade to the paid plan, that has been the greatest game changer is I have created specialists. You could call them even like AI assistants or something like that. But I asked myself, what are some of the recurring things that I do that I want to teach it? And I want to create almost like an assistant that can help me specialize in a specific area. Because what you can do inside of Claude or in ChatGPT, in Claude, they're called projects. In ChatGPT, they're custom GPTs. Think of it as an assistant specialist. You can give it a title and a role, and it can become a specialist in that. So I'm going to give you my 5 that I've created so far. I'm sure I'll be adding more. I have Amanda's KPI analyzer. So this is one of my specialists that looks at our data and our numbers in our business, and together we workshop ideas and the gaps to try to figure out how to improve our KPIs. I have a funnel optimizer. As the name applies, it helps me look at my funnels, figure out ways to increase sales and more clients. I have an ad strategist, since part of our strategy is running ads. It can help me write ads, think of ads, optimize ads. I have a content creator. And I have a PR machine. I call it my PR machine. And so all 5 of these are so impactful for me because they each do a different job. But the really cool thing, this is where my mind blown. This is where my BDC members a couple weeks ago were like, holy moly, I had no idea this even existed. So if I want to build a custom project, stay with me on this, you guys, because this is the key. Then I can take that project and I can name it and I can tell it exactly what I want it to do. But the really cool thing is you can upload knowledge into that project. So for instance, let's talk about my ad strategist. So what I'm able to do is first I upload my brand guide and my voice guide into all of the projects so that they know exactly who my client is, how I talk, all those things. And then I upload so many samples of ads that I've written. I also have uploaded transcripts of the podcasts that are relevant. So basically what I'm trying to do is just show it. This is who I am. This is the way I talk. This is the way I think. These are the things I'm passionate about. And so when it begins to give me outputs, it already has this solid database. And my content creator, which has the greatest amount of project knowledge, I have everything. We actually pulled all of our testimonials that we've ever had, well, I should say in the last 2 years, the most relevant ones, and we put them into a Word doc. My assistant did. And so we've uploaded like hundreds of testimonials, samples of our newsletter, again, lots of transcripts from the podcast, different ads, our freebies, a transcript of our webinar. So all of these things are important for me so that it understands me, because excellent input equals excellent output. And now when I go to pull things, like when I was developing all of my podcast outlines, I don't go into a generic chat. I go into my content creator project or my specialist, and then I tell it what I need it to do. And on that note, here's another piece is you can't just be generic. Write a transcript for a podcast that I want to call X. So I tell it like, I want you to act like this like top downloaded podcast creator and producer and highly engaging speaker. And I want you to help me craft this outline for the podcast that's going to get my readers or my listeners to, whatever I want them to do. Be excited about AI, be curious about AI. And then I tell it the things that I want it to do, and it gives me the output. So part of the reason your output is often poor is that the prompt you're giving it is kind of crappy. It's not specific enough. It doesn't give it context. And this is definitely a mistake I made early on. And now, it's completely a game changer. I hope what I shared today shows you that AI isn't about replacing anything. It's about collaboration. It's about you teaching it how to understand who you are and giving it really good inputs so that you can have really great outputs. And if you're not, this is my truth bomb for this episode. If you're not leveraging AI, I do think you could be left behind in your business. And while you're looking around and you're struggling to keep up, and you're like, how do people get this done? I think potentially your competitors are getting 3 to 10 times more done in the same amount of time. And so it's not about becoming like a robot or generic or vanilla. It's about becoming a more efficient and effective version of yourself. And here's what it really is. For me, it's about creating the space for the things that actually matter most, which is my family, myself, and serving my clients in person and building really impactful content for them, looking at my KPI. Like, there are some things that I need to have my eyes on. And so this is the beauty of what it does. And so if you're listening to this and thinking like, okay, Amanda, I want this. I want what you have, but I have no idea where to help. I am helping in real time my coaches integrate AI into their businesses in a way that totally amplifies their authenticity, that does not diminish it at all. And so I'm teaching the exact strategies that I've shared, how to choose a platform for you, build your specialty teams, create systems inside the BDC, and you will have full access to that training when you join us. So if you want to stop kind of spinning your wheels, or maybe you're growing this on the side and you know you have less time, you want to maximize it, you want to get your time back, then I am here for you. I think the best place to connect is for you to just grab a spot on my calendar and book a call to chat. You can do that at amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT, because I think that this is a tool that is going to serve you in so many ways. And I think that coaches who embrace this technology in a way that feels really great to them are going to be even more effective. So I hope you enjoyed kind of this shift to really share what's possible for you. And if you have any questions or a major nugget that came up for you, I'd love to chat. You can head on over to my Instagram. That's where I hang out at A Walk My Way. And I would love to talk more about AI and answer any questions you have. And so until next time, go coach them up.